Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you on here, and I hope you guys can try these mandalas and have a fun time doing it. So before we get started on the mandala design, I'm going to explain our tools. So the tools I use are color-coded, so they have a color on the top of the tools. When you buy them off of Temu or Amazon, they usually just come clear. So first off, for the twirly tools, I do not use the green twirly for any of my tutorials, so you can set this one aside. As for the rods, the largest two rods, I, again, also do not use for any of my tutorials, but if you're doing like a bigger project on your own time, then of course you can use these. So now to help you understand what I have color-coded, you can lay them out biggest to smallest. The biggest one, which is the green one, next size down, we have it marked as the blue stick. And then next size down after the blue is the white stick. After the white stick, it's the yellow stick. And then we have the pink stick. And then last but not least, trying to pick them up, is the black stick. And then of course we have the twirlies. These are self-explanatory. They are color-coded already. You can color code them yourself. We use just nail polish on the tops of the tools. We can get started with the design now. So for today's class, we're going to be using this color palette. For paint color number 1, I'm using Craft Smart Natural Buff. Number 2 is Deco Art Americana Wild Berry. Number 3 is Craft Smart Metallic Rose. Number 4 is Deco Art Americana Ocean Blue. Number 5 is Craft Smart Metallic Blue Ice Pearl. And paint color number 6 is Craft Smart, also metallic and radiant gold. So before we get started on the tea light, we're just gonna practice some designs and techniques that we're gonna use. So I'm using a separate sheet of paper, but you guys can use your placemat. So the upper left-hand or right-hand corner, I wouldn't recommend doing it anywhere here in the middle because then we're gonna put our item there and then you might get paint on your clothes, on your hands, and on the item, and it might be a big mess. And just open up to a paint color on your palette that will be visible on your sheet of paper. So to start off, we're going to use the pink stick and the pink stylus tool. You're going to take the pink stick first and you're going to dip it into the paint. And you don't want to dip just the tip like this. You want to over dip about this much, okay? So yeah, don't be scared to get a good amount of paint on there. Then you're going to place a dot and then take the pink stylus, the smaller end, and you're going to drag the paint from that dot down to make a teardrop. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next design. We're gonna use the same tools. So once again, starting with the pink stick, you're going to dip in the paint and place a dot. Then you're gonna take the pink stylus, the bigger end, dip into the paint and place a dot right above the bigger one, almost like a snowman with a very small head. Once you've got that, you're gonna switch to the smaller end of the pink stylus, dip into the paint, and then without re-dipping, you're going to dot halfway around, dip again, start at the top, and dot the other half. So moving on to the next design, it's kind of similar to the one that we just did, still using the same tools. taking the pink stick, dipping into the paint, and placing a dot. Then you're going to take the pink stylus, bigger end, and put a dot above. Then you'll switch to the smaller end, dip in the paint, but instead of placing dots, you're going to kind of drag the paint around to make like small little swishes. And the last thing that we're going to practice, we're going to take the white stylus, the bigger end, and for this you want to make sure you get a lot of paint on your tool. So I like to swirl it around in my paint, make sure that your whole ball end is covered and even more. Then you're going to place it on your sheet of paper and slowly drag. And then if they don't come out as long as you want them to, you just retrace and just keep dragging that paint along, and it'll get longer with each stroke. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and get started on our tea light. So for the first row, we're gonna use the blue stylus, the bigger end, and to make sure that our design starts off as symmetrical as possible, we're going to place 4 guiding dots. Oh, also we're using paint color 5. So you're going to use the bigger end on the blue stylus, and you're going to place 4 guiding dots. So you're going to place 1, and then another one across from it, like that. And then you're going to try and find the center of those 2, bring it to the side like this, and then another one across from that one, kind of like 4 dots north, south, west, east. And then once you get those 4 main dots, in each gap in between, you're going to place 1 in the middle like that, and then 3 on each side of that. So that means 7 dots in each of these gaps in between here. For the next step, we're going to use the black stick, and we're going to use paint color 2. And we're going to be putting these dots above the gaps of the dots we just placed. So not above the dots like this, but above the gaps. And just all around like that.
I'm sorry, what number are we using?
2. For the next step, we're going to use the pink stick, and we're going to use paint color 6, and basically doing the same thing that we just did, placing these dots above the gaps of the row we just made. Okay, for the next row, we're going to use the same tool, the pink stick, and we're going to use paint color 4. And once again, we're putting these dots above the gaps, but you're going to do every other gap. Next up, we're going to use the pink stylus with paint color number 1. We're going to start off with the bigger end of the pink stylus, and we're going to put it right above these big dots that we just made. Then you're going to switch to the smaller end, dip in the paint, and then do 2 or 1 small drag on each side like we practiced.
The drag is with the smaller end?
Yes.
Okay.
Next up, we're going to use the pink stylus, And we're going to use paint color 3. We're going to start with the bigger end of the pink stylus. You're going to dip in the paint, and we're going to place 3 dots, kind of like a pyramid, above the design that we just did. So like that. Then you'll switch to the smaller end, start at the top, and do a small drag on each side.
You said color 3, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to the next step, we're going to use the white stylus and the pink stylus. And we're going to use paint colors 4 and 5. So using the white stylus, bigger end, and paint color 4, we're going to make a straight drag down in between these designs, and you want to do it slightly above the top dots of our designs. Then you'll take the pink stylus with the bigger end and paint color 5, and you're going to do a smaller drag on each side, starting a bit lower than the first drag that we did. Okay, next step, we're gonna take the pink stick and paint color 6. And we're just going to put a dot right above those drags that we did.
Yeah, number 6, right? I think it's right here. Oh, okay, thanks.
Next step, we're gonna take the pink stylus with paint color 2. We're gonna use the bigger end first. We're gonna dip in the paint, place a dot above the ones we just made, and then you'll switch to the smaller end, dip in the paint, and then dot around like we practiced. Dip again and do the other side.
This is number 2.
Mm-hmm. Next step, we're gonna use the pink stylus again with paint color 1. And it's basically the same thing that we just did. With the bigger end, you're going to place the first dot and then switch to the smaller end and go around. Next step, we're gonna take the white stylus and paint color 3. And once again, basically doing the same thing, bigger end for that first dot, and then switch to the smaller end to go around. Next step, we're gonna use the black stick and the blue stylus. We're gonna use the black stick first, and we're using paint color 5. We're gonna use the black stick as that first dot, and then the blue stylus bigger end to dot around. we're going to use the blue stylus. And we're gonna use paint colors 4 and 6. So with the bigger end of the blue stylus, with paint color 6, we're going to do one long drag in between our designs. Make sure you're starting above these dots, like a good amount. Then you'll switch to the smaller end, dip in paint color 4, and without re-dipping, you're just gonna kind of dot along that, like that. Then wipe the smaller end, dip into the gold. Another small drag on each side. Wipe one last time, and then again with paint color 4, an even smaller one to finish off. If you don't want to keep wiping, you can also use the pink stylus bigger end, because that's the same size as the blue stylus smaller end, okay? So I'll repeat the steps one more time. With the bigger end of the blue stylus, you're going to do the first one down the middle with paint color 6. Then you're going to switch to the smaller end with paint color 4. And do some dots along that swoosh. And then, like I said, if you don't want to keep wiping, you can put that one down and pick up the pink stylus, bigger end with gold. Do 2 drags, and then switch the smaller on the pink to do the small blue ones. And so that way you don't have to keep wiping your tool, you can just switch. And with that being the last step, you guys are all done. Feel free to finish up little touch-ups, but other than that, we're done. Okay, last thing we're gonna do is some overlapping. So we're gonna use the black stick and we're going to use paint color 5. And we're gonna overlap these dots first. Just putting a dot right in the middle. Okay, and the last overlapping, we're gonna use the black stick again with paint color 2, and we're gonna overlap these dots here.